Out to the rodeo, you can come watch the show live from the wine garden for the next 2 hours. Coming up this hour, President Trump says he'll make his endorsement soon in the Texas Senate race between Republican Senator John Cornyn and State Attorney General Ken Paxton. The catch, he wants the person he doesn't endorse to drop out of the race immediately. We'll discuss this and more of today's top headlines. Plus, this hour, we'll learn about the rodeo attraction Agventure. Then we'll talk with Chief Show Operations Officer Kyle Olsen. And as always, we want to hear from you. Give us a call or text at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can also watch us live on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org and clicking the purple box.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, by Metro, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. Iran's retaliatory strikes are expanding a day after the U.S. torpedoed an Iranian warship in the waters off Sri Lanka. Today, Azerbaijan said it came under drone attacks. Iran denies that claim. 14 countries are directly or indirectly involved in the now 6-day-old war. Humanitarian aid organizations are warning of dire conditions for people fleeing Israeli strikes in South Lebanon. Israel says it is targeting Hezbollah installations after the Lebanese militant group launched rockets into northern Israel earlier this week. NPR's Hadil Al-Shalchi reports from Beirut.
Families fleeing the Israeli attacks on their villages in South Lebanon are sheltering in schools and other buildings or resorting to sleeping in cars and the streets. Aid groups like the International Rescue Committee say people are in urgent need of things like blankets and hygiene products. Humanitarian funding to Lebanon was drastically cut recently, in part due to President Trump's order to decrease international aid from the U.S. The Lebanese government says there are nearly 400 shelters operating around Lebanon, and as of Wednesday, only 42 had capacity to host additional people. Many Lebanese citizens in the south have had to relocate several times, along with displaced Palestinians and Syrians who took refuge in Lebanon. Hadil Al-Shalchi, NPR News, Beirut.
The war continues to rattle global energy markets. NPR's Scott Horsley reports that's leading to higher prices at the gas pump.
Gasoline prices jumped by another nickel a gallon overnight, pushing the national average to $3.25 a gallon. AAA says gas prices have jumped by about 25 cents over the last 3 days and are now about 15 cents higher than this time last year. Crude oil prices are also climbing as the U.S. war with Iran disrupts tanker traffic in the Middle East. A specialized trade court has ordered the Trump administration to refund tens of billions of dollars worth of tariffs that the Supreme Court ruled were collected illegally. The process for repaying that money still has to be worked out, but so far courts have slapped down the administration's effort to slow walk the process. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
In Texas, incumbent Senator John Cornyn and the state's Attorney General Ken Paxton are headed for a runoff. Texas Public Radio's David Martin Davis has more.
Trump messaged on social media after the primary result that he will soon be endorsing a candidate, adding he will ask the other candidate to step aside. John Taylor is a University of Texas at San Antonio political science professor and says the Cornyn-Paxton runoff could hurt the Texas GOP.
I would call it a nightmare scenario for the Republicans in Texas.
Appearing on the right-wing platform Real America's Voice, Paxton said no matter what happens, he won't drop out of the runoff.
I'm staying in this race. I owe it to the people of Texas.
Trump alluded that he's deeply concerned the runoff will hurt Republican chances of winning the general election in November. I'm David Martin Davies in San Antonio.
From Washington, this is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Alexandra Hart. As Houston Mayor John Whitmire's administration increased efforts to address street homelessness last year, the Houston Police Department ramped up citations for violations of the city's sidewalk rules. An analysis of municipal court records by Houston Public Media and the Media Innovation Group at UT Austin reveals increased enforcement in an area where a shelter and services center is slated to open later this year. As News 88.7's Dominic Anthony Walsh reports, it's an example of criminal enforcement outpacing housing and services.
Officers issued nearly 2,000 tickets in the second half of 2025, about double the number in the first half of the year. City officials say they moved about 200 people into housing from the central urban core last year. In the final 3 months of the year, officers turned their attention to East Downtown, issuing more than 200 tickets near an upcoming, controversial 240-bed shelter and service center. Hannah Leibovitz with the Institute of Urban Studies at UT Arlington is not surprised enforcement came first.
Providing services does take longer than just having, a cop come out and forcibly remove somebody from an area.
The East Downtown Center is expected to open by June. I'm Dominic Anthony Walsh, News 88.7.
See a deep dive into the data at houstonpublicmedia.org. The city of Houston is spending more money on its electricity bills. Will Jones with the city controller's office discussed electricity spending at a committee meeting this week. He said the city entered into an electricity contract with Reliant right before the 2021 winter freeze, temporarily shielding the city from increased costs after the storm.
Now that we're in the renewal option, now we have some exposure to the reality of what everyone else has been paying for a while.
The city is on track to spend about 40% more on electricity than it did last year. And gas prices are rising significantly in the Houston area. The average price for a gallon of regular fuel is now 30 cents higher than this time last week. Experts say this is likely due to the Middle East conflict intensifying. I'm Alexandra Hart, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Fisher Investments. As a fiduciary, Fisher Investments is obligated to act in their client's interest. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. This is NPR.
Live from the University of Houston, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Howdy, Houston. We want to thank you for joining us today on March 5th, whether you're joining us via YouTube or you're listening to us live in your car. We want to thank you for choosing News 88.7 as your trusted source for information on what's happening in our fabulous city. And what's happening, Frank?
We are here in the wine garden, Celeste. You've got to come see us. There's plenty of garden, but I haven't seen plenty of wine just yet. But we're definitely here. It is a beautiful day.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
I was going to wear one of my big, heavy, flowery rodeo shirts, and I thought, maybe I'll go with the lighter version.
I like what you went with, Frank.
Thanks.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see us all in our rodeo getup. And again, we want to thank you for joining us. And you might notice Ernie's not with us right now.
Well, he's not. He's with us in food spirit.
Right where he likes to be.
One of the, and he'll explain more, one of the big events out here is that all the media gets to be judges for the Gold Buckle Award, which is all these new entries into the food. So you get all these food entries, and you get to judge them, taste them,
and
eat them.
Last year we were out here at the rodeo, and we got to try bacon, candied bacon. Do you remember that, Frank?
And now it's on a lot of menus.
And now it goes on menus.
Yes.
So we were the taste testers.
Yes, and there's a lot coming with all of that. Ernie's going to tell us all about it.
We're going to hear all about it. But you know what else is coming up on Hello Houston? We have a full roundup of rodeo guests this hour. We're going to learn about Agventure, and I believe I am right now looking at a furry little friend that's going to be joining us. You're not going to want to miss that. We're also going to talk with Kyle Olsen, who is the Chief Show Operations Officer of the rodeo, and that's coming up this hour. But first, the headlines. But before we go to the headlines, I think we need to go to our very own Ernie Manous.
Hello
Ernie, are you there?
everyone. I am over at the Gold Buckle Foodie Awards, and we have just started judging. So what's
Hi,
Golden
Ernie.
Buckle?
Can you hear us?
We are looking at the commercial vendor foods, and so that's anything that you can get on the grounds when you're here. They started voting online, so fans of rodeo have been able to vote already, and today they bring it to us in judges. I'm sitting at a very important table. I really can't show you, but Rula's here. Danny from Mostly Chocolate is here. He sits next to me every year, and we judge this. So we're going in, and we're judging our foods, seeing what we've got. I've already had fried edamame, and now I think I'm about to have a mini blueberry pie with ice cream. I know, I get the hard gigs here. We're going to be here throughout the show, and later on we'll talk to some of the folks here, but we're really having a good time, and we're really looking at digging in and telling you what is the best food you can get at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Back to you guys at the table, and I wish I were there with you, but the food's going to have to make up for you.
Sure you wish you were here with us. But, I got to say, Frank, we were just talking about you deciding to go with a lighter type top. Ernie went with a gold sequins jacket.
He sparkles like the Oval Office.
Yes, that's right. But again, we are live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. You're listening to Hello Houston. And again, we are going to jump right into the headlines.
Let's do it. Okay, go.
Texas is once again taking center stage in national politics as a high-profile Republican Senate race draws attention from the White House. President Trump says he'll soon endorse a candidate in the Texas Republican U.S. Senate runoff, urging the race to come to an end. On social media Wednesday, the president said the contest between four-term Senator John Cornyn and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, quote, must stop now, and suggested the candidate who does not receive his endorsement should consider dropping out. Both candidates advanced to a May 26th runoff after Tuesday's primary, where Cornyn and his allies spent nearly $70 million to make it through the first round. The winner will face Democratic nominee James Tallarico in November. Now is the time to join us on Hello Houston. Should a presidential endorsement carry that much weight in a primary race? And if Trump backs one candidate, should the other step aside? Call in. We want to hear your thoughts. Now is the time to join us. 713-440-8870.
So one man's vote, president or not, can decide you're not advancing and you are. That happens in some countries. It doesn't happen in the United States, and I can't imagine it's going to happen now.
Well, I think it's really interesting, right, Frank, because we're, again, looking at how much weight should and the impact of a presidential endorsement carry versus local Texans feeling like they have the choice to choose their own Republican candidate.
Well, a lot of people make endorsements. Newspapers make endorsements. Television stations make endorsements. Labor unions and whatever your thing is. But when you represent the United States of America and all of the people, that's when you don't make endorsements. You absolutely, if you're a Republican and you want to encourage people to vote Republican, I can understand that. That's the party you're in. But at the same time, for him to say this person over that person, based on what? And I guess who he thinks could beat James Tallarico.
I think that's a good point. I also think from a strategic point, Trump is probably also looking to help Texas, the Republican Party, to basically avoid a very prolonged, expensive runoff, because we are seeing some of the highest numbers that we've seen in a long time in regards to, Cornyn, $70 million.
Well, and what if you've already spent that $70 million and Trump says, now you need to drop out? And you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We've spent all of this money, all this time, all this effort, and I actually have a message and a platform that I want to bring to the people of Texas, and you've decided for whatever reason, because I read a lot of articles and a lot of Facebook posts that said that Jasmine Crockett was going to beat James Tallarico. I read that from some people that are supposedly in the know.
Yeah.
And that's not what happened. Not only did he win by a healthy margin. So for anyone to know what's going to happen, a lot of people didn't think Trump was going to win.
That's right.
And Hillary Clinton was one of them.
Yep. And again, 713-440-8870. Let's go to Thomas from Montgomery, who's on the line. Thomas, welcome to Hello Houston.
Yeah, hi. Who is Donald Trump trying to kid? His endorsement is not worth all that much because he endorsed a number of people in the past who lost. So who's he trying to kid?
Well, and I think that, Thomas, that may be one reason he's kind of delaying it, because I heard yesterday afternoon that he was going to be making this shortly, and he still hasn't come out with it, because I don't think he knows really who to endorse.
And again, I think that we are looking at where party lines are being drawn within the Republican Party. I would think from a strategic point, the president would thinking, I'm going to unify, the party, and it's going to cause a lot of fractures, because you are going to have some people, some Republicans, that feel very sidelined by the fact that the president is the one who's deciding who their candidate is going to be to represent them.
Yeah, I can't imagine that anyone, even from a MAGA Republican to a more moderate Republican, would want Donald Trump saying, not just endorse, if he wants to endorse Cornyn or he wants to endorse Paxton, fine, endorse them. But to say that if I don't endorse you, you're done.
Right.
That's a whole different take on this. Yes.
And the real concern also that, a lot of people could argue is how this could reinforce, once again, we're going back to the idea that national figures, rather than local voters, ultimately are determining primary outcomes.
Well, and
that's an issue.
Yeah, well, what is an issue for Trump is losing the House and maybe losing the Senate. Mm-hmm. And so his concern has got to be which one of these Republicans are more electable, especially against someone who I think James Tallarico came to the forefront with this whole kind of inclusive, I love everyone needs to get along, this very, almost old school. It sounded like Obama, right?
Right,
and this old school adage. And so Trump is like, wait a minute, do I go with Cornyn, who's very MAGA, and he's saying, we can't have Sharia law in Texas, and taking these crazy kind of ads that I've seen.
Yeah.
Or do I go with Paxton, who has obviously a bit of a reputation,
right,
to put it mildly.
Yeah.
And
a little bit more of a messy candidate, maybe.
Well,
perhaps
against Tallarico, I think Paxton is. You're looking at one fraternity boy versus the guy in the choir, right?
And again, 713-440-8870. You're listening to Hello Houston. We are live from the Livestock Show and Rodeo, and we are going to go to Drew from the Woodlands. Drew, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question?
Yes, President Trump is free to endorse a candidate, but he should not mess with Texas and allow the Texans that are determining a statewide race to determine who their candidate that they want to vote for. Endorsements have been going on for a long time, but to strongly recommend that Texans should no longer consider a candidate that he does not approve of is going too far. It also shows you how nervous they are about Tallarico, and they know that they need a deep war chest and also lots of time to get ready for that general election race in November. I love seeing that Trump is nervous.
Drew, and I want to just clarify, he's not just telling Texans, he's telling the candidates.
Well,
you're going to drop out.
And I just thought of this. Drew, I don't know if you're still there, but okay, let's say he says, I'm going to...
Drew dropped.
Okay, Drew, but you tell me what you think. So he says, okay, Cornyn, you stay in, Paxton, you get out. So now all of the people who really love Paxton
absolutely
are like, well, I'm staying home. I'm not even going to go out and vote.
And
so now you have all the Cornyn support of, say, 10 people and all of the Tallarico support of 15 people, and he didn't get the other 10 from Paxton because he was told you're not in it. And so the people may really be a stupid move.
And could backfire on him. It's going to be very interesting to see Texas Republican leadership if they're going to actually listen. Because, Ken Paxton, from what we know, is pretty...
He's not going to drop out.
But you never know. Or if he goes with Cornyn, you just don't know.
A lot of it... Now, I'm not an election expert. Yeah. But I know that they take a lot of national money. So if you're running as a Republican, you need the Republican Party behind you just for the money part.
Correct.
Not so much the endorsements part.
And I think
money.
that's also behind the strategy. They are looking at the finances of this, the funding. Again, we saw Cornyn dish out $70 million just for a primary. But again, 713-440. Let's go to Wayne. Wayne, are you on the line?
Yeah, here I am. Well, I want to talk about the Iranian thing. I want to talk about the Iranian thing where Trump just ignored these poor 6 people that have died in the Iranian invasion. 6 people. He doesn't care. Republicans don't care about death. They are a cold-hearted breed. We shouldn't be in Iran, and the only reason they're there is because of Epstein files. Cover that up. That's Iran and the oil. Don't forget the oil. That's what they went to Venezuela for drugs, but they found oil. Oh, we got oil. They're just liars. You can't trust a damn Republican. Nothing. Right.
Thank you, Wayne. And again, 713-440-8870. We have quite a few calls on the line. Let's go to Chloe. Let's go to Chloe, who's in Brenham. Chloe, welcome to Hello Houston.
Hey there, love the show. Thanks for taking my call. I guess my one comment here, and I've seen this as a pattern with many shows, Biden endorsed state-level candidates. He endorsed like 20 different candidates in Virginia. Kamala Harris made a video to play in churches to ask for a vote for specific candidates. So, like, this idea that this is some brand new thing that's never occurred, that's some unique threat to democracy, is really ridiculous. And you guys do it pretty frequently, where it's like this situation that's occurred on the Democrat side many times, but if a Republican does it, it's, again, some unique, insane threat that's never happened. And it's quite ridiculous, frankly.
Yeah, but Chloe, it's not the endorsement part. It's the you need to drop out if you're the other guy. That's the part that kills me.
I don't know.
Do you agree with that part?
I mean, I think it's
sounds like Chloe dropped on me.
You will drop
but be clear. Anyone,
absolutely. To be clear, it's
everyone needs an endorsement now.
Absolutely.
But you don't say I endorse Houston now.
You need to drop out, and that I think is the issue. And Chloe's right though. We need to be clear on the fact that we are not saying that the president is not free and does not have the right to endorse candidates. 1,000%, please, by all means.
But you usually endorse your party's candidates against the other party. That's where the endorsements go. Not one of your people against another one.
Party.
Yes, and then not only endorse them, say because I endorsed him, you're no longer a candidate, and I want you gone. That's just not American.
Let's go to Cece. Cece, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question?
Oh, I believe that he's going to offer Paxton the AG position and fire Bondi. So he'll get Paxton out and Cornyn will go in.
Well, I heard Kristi Noma's on the line. That just came down on my feed.
Yeah.
That she's on the line too, and I don't think he's happy with what he's been saying in her testimony. So.
Yeah, well, thank you, Cece, for joining us on Hello Houston. But, there's a lot happening right now, and we want to thank you for joining us on Hello Houston from the Houston
Wine Garden
Show and Rodeo. We know that a lot of news happens, and sometimes you got to talk about it. And that's what we do on Hello Houston.
So
Houston Talks.
Yeah, and out here that they announced the winners of the World Champion Barbecue Contest. Ernie was the judge on that.
Now let's talk about something we can all get behind, right? Barbecue.
I thought you were going to say Ernie.
I don't know.
I told you the other day if I had to eat one food for the rest of my life, I could do barbecue.
Right.
Different varieties.
I don't know, Frank, if I could do that.
Well, it's either that or Chinese food, so take it.
Oh, right, yeah. But, it's interesting because Ernie, though we're talking about all the food, Ernie was wearing a gold sequin jacket. And I've got to say, way to go, Ernie. He just went for it.
Well, I went they're all at the Cattlemen's Club, which is, just a hop, skip, and a jump. And so I went down to find him. And I said, "Where's Ernie?" He said, "Oh, in the gold jacket." He's like, instantly could find him.
Ernie wears the gold jacket at the Golden Buckle. But, we've been getting quite a few YouTube comments, and I'm going to read a couple of those. We received one. There will be a whole bunch more mudslinging before it's all said and done. That will damage both candidates' reputation. This is why he's doing it. Hopefully they both stay in the race and weaken the Republican
That was mud burying
party. Yeah.
It's not just slinging.
And then we also received another. Caller doesn't understand literally what Trump is doing or the situation. Trump is demanding someone step down without a runoff. That is not what an endorsement is. Listening is an important skill. I do think that it's important that we recognize that, it's good to go out and vote. We have a general election coming up, and it's going to be very interesting to see who are on the ballots.
Seems like we've been voting and voting and voting.
Yes.
Since November.
Yes.
And then December.
And here we are again.
In January. I mean, it's on and on and on.
My favorite thing to vote on is barbecue, but that's a whole other conversation. All right. But, coming up on Hello Houston, we're going to find out about Agventure, and I think they're bringing us somebody very special, a little furry friend. This is News 88.7. Stay with us.
Meet Dio Choco. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. This is his story. Visit ridemetro.org/Choco to find out where is Choco.
Supermarket if you're not doing something.
Cities leading the way on the next Climate One.
You can hear Climate One Sunday at 6 a.m. on News 88.7.
Democrats are experts at organizing protests on a national scale. Cultivating local candidates, not so much.
What we've seen is that as MAGA and the Republicans have become more welcoming of a big tent, Democrats have started excluding and issuing purity tests.
Why Republicans are so good at developing local leaders and where the Democrats have failed. That's next time on Think.
Think with Chris Boyd, tonight at 11 on News 88.7.
Houston Public Media, in partnership with Texas Southern University, brings to you The Vibe. R&B, hip-hop, and neo-soul. Music that resonates with all ages. The Vibe on 88.7 HD3 and on the Houston Public Media app.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Metro, introducing the Ride Metro Fare Card. The Ride Metro Fare system replaces the Metro Q Fare Card for bus and rail fares. Details at ridemetro.org/fare system.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from downtown Houston, moving forward with more people back in the office, more visitors every week, and over $1 million grant dollars invested into small businesses and storefronts. More at downtownhouston.org.
Support comes from UT Health Houston, Houston's health university, where education, research, and patient care come together to help advance health and improve lives in Houston and beyond. More at uth.edu/manyfaces.
And now back to Hello Houston, live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Here's your hosts, Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
All right, Agventure, located in Hall A of NRG Center, is a place where parents can take their kids to learn all about agriculture and farm animals. It is swarmed with kids right now. I was there an hour ago. It's crazy over there. A plethora of livestock creatures can be found inside a fun and educational area, including several live animal exhibits. And joining us now is Alan Kaminski, founding member of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo's Tours Committee, and former Texas Farm Bureau State Director. Alan, welcome to Hello Houston.
Welcome.
I'm glad you're here.
Now, I was just kindly corrected. I have been saying a furry friend. It's
Not
actually
really fur.
a woolly friend,
Yeah,
and it's a baby woolly friend.
That's correct. She was born on Tuesday, so we named her Tuesday.
Oh, Tulip. I also had Tuesday, Tulip, Houston. That's what we all decided, Alan. This was a community
works.
thing. You know, Alan, for people
Wait,
who...
you named her without me?
Well, we'll talk about it later. But no, it's a long story.
Well, at least spell it T-E-W-E. Tuesday. Since it's a girl.
We can do that. Yes, sir.
Yes. You know, Alan, for people who may not have visited before, talk to us a little bit about what exactly Agventure is here at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and why it's important for kids to be learning about agriculture.
Well, as you know, agriculture is very important.
Yeah.
Everyone's involved in agriculture. Even if you're not raising a crop or feeding an animal, you're going to eat 3 meals a day. And you're going to have clothes made out of cotton. Right. So as our Texans get a little farther removed from agriculture, it's very important for them to come out to Agventure so they can see the different breeds of animals, different breeds of cattle, sheep, swine. They also can see the birthing center, where we have some swine, some lambs there, some cows that are giving birth throughout the show. We have a milking parlor giving demonstrations. Another popular exhibit is the hatchery, where we have eggs, and we set out so many every day, and they hatch, and they can watch the little chick peck his way through the egg. It takes up to 24 hours sometimes, but it's just fun to watch.
Yeah,
Brings them back to agriculture.
And a lot of lessons learned, I'm sure.
Well, and I think a lot of respect gained.
Yeah.
When you see animals in almost a natural habitat, I mean,
Yes, sir.
in there,
Yes, sir.
You say, hey, this is the live animal I've heard about or seen pictures of, looked at books and seen these animals. To see them yourself and even get to touch some of them. And there's the big animal petting zoo out there, too.
That's correct.
I think as a young kid, you really do gain a respect for these animals.
Yeah. Are there any fan favorite animals that kids always just gravitate towards too, Alan?
I would probably say the chickens, the chicks hatching.
Really?
That's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
The rabbit's got to be there somewhere.
The rabbits.
Yep.
Also, we have a miniature donkey there, and that's a fan favorite. You see the little miniature donkey, and then there's Dutch belted, some people call the Oreo cow, where they're black and then white in the center. That's a fan favorite. But just see the original breeds of livestock.
But Alan, you are an expert. You're within this industry. You see these things constantly throughout your life. What tends to surprise kids or parents or families most when they see these animals in person?
Just, how they act, their behavior.
Yeah.
Like the pigs, just how they just lay there and rest, I mean, it could be 100 people going through that Agventure breed row. They're just relaxed,
Yeah.
They're in their comfort zone. Or just looking at the Brahman cattle or the Texas Longhorn, how long those horns are. It's just the reactions on their faces.
Yeah, it leaves an impression.
How long has Agventure been around? It seems like I've been covering the rodeo for 35 years.
Well, it started out as a barnyard, like a junior barnyard. The FFA, Future Farmers America, set that up and ran it. And then I'm not sure, I think I was in college back in the 80s when they transformed from the barnyard into Agventure. So I'm not sure what year.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I started covering in '89, so somewhere in there.
That's right.
It's been a bit, and then there's also a farm to table exhibit that they have for the kids also.
Yes.
Which I think is a great learning experience.
That's correct.
Because people say, well, we don't need farmers, we have grocery stores,
No, the farmers and ranchers have to raise those animals and that produce to get in the grocery stores.
Yep.
So y'all are really making that connection for kids that live in Houston that, we're city folk. And it's one of those things. Talk to us about how Agventure helps make that connection for young kids and even maybe some parents that this is then food, maybe not this exact animal, but then becomes food on your plate.
Like going to HEB and you want some chocolate milk. Well, when it comes out of the cow, it's not chocolate.
No.
It's white.
It's not even milk you want to drink when it comes out of the cow.
They can see that white milk coming from that udder into that milk canister. They see it's white.
Yeah.
And you still have that display, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like
yes,
once an hour you milk a cow.
Several times, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember seeing it for the first time. I mean, when you milk a cow, it's a little bit of work.
That's correct.
And then when you take that white milk, you've got to do something to it to make it even taste like the white milk we get from the grocery store.
That's correct. Then it gets pasteurized and make sure everything is good. And
there's a process.
That's correct.
The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is known for its volunteers. How many volunteers help make Agventure possible every single year?
The Tours Committee, they give the tours.
Yeah.
And I think their membership is around 450 now to 500.
Wow.
And then we also have interns from A&M. We have around 25 to 30 interns from A&M every day. Their job is to clean the pens, feed the animals, take care of them.
Yeah.
So it's a big family getting that show ready every day to open to the public and maintain it during the day.
And they keep coming back every year.
Yes.
Yeah, and what does that look like, the kind of care and oversight that goes into bringing livestock into an environment like the NRG Stadium or Center?
Okay. Well, you mean daily what we do every day?
Yeah, talk to us about it.
Okay. Well, these interns started at 6:30 this morning. Most people probably still were in bed sleeping.
I was.
But they get to Agventure. Their first job is, there's going to be some stuff you got to clean out of those pens every day.
Right.
Make sure that pen's clean and presentable. And then they will go ahead and, for the cattle or all the animals, they'll feed them. Make sure they have fresh water. And then if they have enough time, like the heifers, they will take them out on a walk to give them some exercise.
Yeah.
Then they'll go out to the hatchery, the incubators. They'll clean those, put new eggs out, clean those incubators, and just be ready to open up by 9 o'clock.
That's got to be a lot of food that we go through at Agventure every year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And where does that come from? Who buys it? Who pays for all that food?
The food?
The food that all the animals eat every morning.
Oh, the show pays for all that food.
It's got to be a lot.
Yes. In back of the Houston Livestock Show's their feed store. And the feed stored back there, and then we order feed throughout the show. It gets delivered, and that's how we feed those animals. But the show pays for all the feed.
That's amazing. You know, Ellen, kind of bringing it out a little bit, why do you think agriculture is still such an important part of Texas culture and our economy, and making sure that, you know, we are the biggest, you know, livestock show and rodeo? Why is that culture so important to Texas?
Well, the two leading industries in Texas is oil and gas, and then agriculture. So that's what we're known for. And it's just important. I mean, like I said earlier, everyone eats every day.
Yeah.
They're going to eat at least 1 or 2 meals, 3 meals a day. They need to know where their food comes from, and then what they're eating, us farmers and ranchers, it is safe. We're making sure it's a safe product going back to the consumers.
And that's an element that I think a lot of Texans, in general, you know, we consume our food and we just think that it's going to be fresh and safe, but that's really what you all are doing and looking at that.
That's correct.
Do you think there's being done enough for farmers locally to making sure that, you know, that they are able to still keep cattle count and head and things like that?
I mean, it's a struggle. I'm going to kind of give you a little bit. I live on a family ranch that's been our family over 100 years.
Wow.
And, you know, it's a struggle every day. You know, it's like going to Las Vegas sometimes, agriculture. You know, we deal with the weather.
Yeah, I know.
You know, have to have rain or too hot or too cold. So it's just, you know, we love it. It's in our system. We're involved in agriculture, but, you know, sometimes it's a struggle. Just be sure stay active.
Right, and being here in Houston, what are some of the misconceptions that you feel like are often happening between Texans? Well, we talked about, you know, the grocery store, going to the grocery store and really understanding farmers and ranchers and those, like you mentioned, daily struggles.
Well, most people don't understand how much it goes into to get this animal from the time it was born, in the process of taking care of it every day, making sure it has enough to eat, then going ahead and feeding it out, and then to the process, you know, how it gets from here to your plate.
Right.
And that may be a year from now that you're feeding that animal to get to your plate.
It seems like we take almost every profession like that for granted.
Yeah, that's right. That's correct.
We just
because they don't see it, you know, as they drive down the roads like they used to, like I did 50 years ago.
Sure.
You see more subdivisions and shopping centers. They don't see agriculture. It's not natural. They just assume it's there, and it's always going to be there for them.
And this has been in your family, as you mentioned, for 100 years.
Yes.
So how have you seen the industry evolve and grow and move, just the way we've seen the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo evolve and grow?
Yeah. It's just...
or would you say it's going the other way? It's getting smaller and harder.
Well, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
Okay. Land values, you know, a lot of people are moving into our area. You know, to keep that family operation going, keep agriculture going. We need it, but sometimes some of these farmers and ranchers sell out because maybe their children.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate. I've got 2 daughters that are going to assume the ranch.
Wow.
But not everyone is that lucky.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we've talked before on our show about all the solar and the wind farms that are popping up. And they've got to get their land from somebody.
And they're using these solar and wind farms, they're using good agricultural land most of the time because it's already level.
Right.
It's cleared, there's no brush. So they can start installing these solar and wind farms a lot.
And a farmer is tempted by the price they'll pay.
Sometimes that's correct.
Yeah, that's retirement money for a lot of people.
That's correct. That's right.
Yes, sir.
We are speaking with Alan Kaminski, founding member of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Tours Committee and former Texas Farm Bureau State Director. If you would like to join the conversation, 713-440-8870. Now, Alan, I got to say, I saw you get a little emotional when you started talking about your daughters taking over, and I'm curious what that means to you. What is that? I saw that. I want you to tell us.
Well, it's just important. Like I said, it's been in our family 100 years.
Wow.
And I don't want to see, a subdivision.
Yeah.
I want it to stay in agriculture.
Yeah.
So my grandkids, my great-grandson can see agriculture.
Where is y'all's family ranch, if you don't mind me?
It's in Sealy.
It's in
just
Sealy.
west of here, about 60 miles.
And I would say there's a lot of growth. That's something that we
That's
often
correct.
talk about.
Houston's
Houston is moving out in that
west,
direction.
and it's moving all directions.
And so what type of challenges does that have for the ranching community besides just the land aspect of that?
Some challenges is, like I tell people, I live on a farm to market road.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I could go to the farm to market road and wait to see a car. Now I better stop because there may be 10 cars coming down the road. It's just there's more and more people moving in our area.
Now, Alan, how do you think, though, when we're looking at our state policy and regulation, how do you think that our elected officials can balance making sure that they are continuing to honor what makes, the great state of Texas what it is, and that's very much a part of our agricultural community, but also making sure that we are promoting economy and people coming to here?
I think, I was a former state farm director, so I work with a lot of legislators on that. And most of the legislators, they understand how important agriculture is. And they're willing, if you invite them, they will come out to your farm and ranch. They're willing to go out on tours to be involved and see the hands-on operations. They know it's important. So they're going to make sure that we're being able to be involved in agriculture.
Right.
Well, it's something that as you say, it's the number 2 business in the state.
Yes, sir.
So it's going to continue, I think, to have a pretty good following from the legislature. That's for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What are the challenges other than making sure everybody's on the same page? And you've got the weather, you've got encroachment, you've got people wanting to buy your farm, and then you've just got to, at the end of the day, find people like your daughters who want to keep going.
That's
with
correct.
It.
It's it's the market.
Yep.
We're very fortunate. I'm a cattle rancher. We've got a good market right now. Not everyone has that.
Right.
Now, am I right in thinking that some of what we grow goes overseas and then gets to come back, especially in cotton? I've heard that we grow a lot of cotton. It goes overseas, and then it gets tariffed and comes back to us.
That's correct. A lot of times that's the way it happens. That's right. Because it can be processed cheaper in another country sometimes.
But then we rebuy our own cotton.
Yes.
It's really, in essence, what
that's
we're doing.
correct. Yes, sir.
But
yes, sir.
I've been hyping up our woolly little friend over there, and
yes,
I want to know
We've kind
more
of been leaving
about.
her out.
We've been leaving her out, and she's sitting there looking lonely. Tell us about Tuesday.
Well, she was born on Tuesday.
So we came up with an original name.
That's correct.
But talk to us, what will happen, to Tuesday? She was born here.
That's correct.
And then talk to us about her life cycle.
Yeah, in 2 days.
In 2 days. Well,
I don't want to take her to the end of the life already.
No,
she was just born, Celeste.
We're not going to go that direction, but she was born on Tuesday.
Yep.
She's a Hampshire lamb because her mother was a Hampshire breed.
Beautiful.
And she had a little issue coming out.
Oh, is the
during
mom
birth.
okay?
Had a little pinched nerve and everything, a little slow in walking, but she came out of it. You'll be surprised how strong these babies are.
Yeah.
They're survivors.
Yeah, they have to be.
That's correct. That's correct because, we're here, we're taking care of them. We're watching them constantly. But at that farm and ranch, a lot of times, we're not out there 24/7 watching them. We got to sleep sometimes,
Yeah, right.
So, but, she's doing very well. Her mother's taking care of her. By the way, when we took her out of the pen, her mother got a little nervous because,
that's her baby.
That's her baby.
Yeah.
She wants to see where it's going.
Any mama gets nervous when she has a baby
yes,
and they're
ma'am.
taking her baby from her. So how old will she get on average? How long do they live?
She will probably, I would say around a year or so, yes.
A year, but Alan, then what happens after?
What do you think happens?
No, I mean it. I want
we
to know
eat
what.
her.
No.
Well, there's difference. We don't know exactly.
Will she be sold?
She could be into a. That's not my lamb, so I don't exactly know.
Right.
She could go back into a breeding operation, where she may be back here next or 2 years
as a mama.
On exhibit. And then it may go back into our food chain.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I know there's no really delicate way. I mean, there is a delicate way to say it, I suppose, but
that's correct.
It's part of what the whole world is about.
But
yes, sir.
And I do have to ask, Alan, what do you say to those people who say, we should not be interfering with our animals and these are lives? There is a lot of respect that goes into that.
That's correct. You just got to educate them, talk to them.
Yeah.
Tell them the importance of it.
Yeah.
Not everyone believes the same way, but you try to just educate them.
That's right, and that's exactly what the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo does.
That's correct.
Alan Kaminski is the founding member of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo's Tours Committee and former Texas Farm Bureau State Director. Alan and friends, and Tuesday, thank you so much for joining us today on Hello Houston.
Make sure you spell it T-E-W-E.
Yes, sir. We got it. Thank you.
Like a Texas Tuesday. Coming up, a behind-the-scenes look at rodeo operations. Stay with us as Hello Houston continues live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
Explore Mexico. Meet DeMola, songwriter, world-class violinist, and award-winning multi-genre artist. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. Visit ridemetro.org/DeMola to learn more about his ride.
Influenced by things coming across its borders.
On the next Travel with Rick Steves.
You can travel with Rick Steves at Saturday morning at 6 a.m. on News 88.7.
You can probably name Texas's richest resident. He's a fairly recent transplant who brought some big parts of his companies with him. A new investigation reveals Elon Musk has a web of interests in Texas, far beyond SpaceX and Tesla. We'll explore and check in with Taco journalist Mondo Rayo on the next Texas Standard.
The Texas Standard tomorrow and every weekday morning at 10 here on News 88.7.
The U.S. and Israel have attacked Iran.
The United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests.
News and analysis from NPR's reporters throughout the region, Sunday on Weekend Edition from NPR News.
This Sunday from 7 until 9 a.m. on News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from listeners like you and from Baylor College of Medicine. Baylor's work centers on advancing health and medicine through research, education, and patient care.
Houston Public Media is licensed to the University of Houston system, governed by the UH Board of Regents. Information about open meetings, dates, times, and locations is online at uhsystem.edu.
And now back to Hello Houston live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Here's your hosts, Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Back in October, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo named Kyle Olsen its new Chief Show Operations Officer, stepping into a role long held by rodeo legend Mike DeMarco, who retired after 34 years. Olsen brings more than 2 decades of experience managing major events and venues, and he actually started his career right here at NRG Park, working events for the Houston Texans and the Grand Prix of Houston. Now he's helping run one of the biggest events in the world. Kyle Olsen joins us now. Kyle, welcome.
Thank you.
Is this year one of 34?
No, I joined the show in 2018, so I'm going on to my 9th rodeo. Not my first rodeo, but my first as the chief.
Excellent. So first off, what exactly does the chief show operations officer oversee during the rodeo?
So our operations division has several departments. We have our hospitality and events department. We have our buildings and grounds, which is really the maintenance, heavy moving, setup side. We have safety and security, and then we have a show operations logistics team.
Wow. Okay. And we all know the rodeo is massive. So talk to us about that. What does that mean when we're looking at it from a numbers perspective?
From a numbers perspective, I mean, I look at it as days and hours is really where we start with. Our two most limited things we have on the grounds and at the show are it's the same as in any sport. We're limited on time and we're limited on space, and so we really focus on managing the time and the space the best we can for the setup.
Well, and it sets up in one day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it all comes in a truck overnight. We hit one button, and congratulations, here's the rodeo.
It's a pop-up?
Well, you do make it seem that way.
Not quite, yeah. This is a well-oiled machine. Obviously, we've been around since 1932, and every year we get a little bit better at what we do, but we've got an incredible team on our staff and, of course, our volunteer base. We have over 34,000 volunteers that are working year-round on this show.
Talk a little bit. I think I saw a television report with you about the rodeo and then becoming the concert. And that stage has to go out in the middle of the rink every night.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we start with obviously one of the rodeo. We do our rodeo competition. We wrap it up with mutton busting, and as the muttons are finishing their busting, we roll our stage out to the middle. It's a pretty incredible machine that was created and introduced in 2018.
Wow.
How much does it weigh?
We're about 450,000 pounds.
400, and it goes from here to there every night.
Yeah, it makes the journey from the south end zone in its hole. I call it the garage, and it's a little bit more than a push of a button. It's a well coordinated technical push of a button, but it does drive out under its own power and under laser guidance to the center of the arena every single night.
And where does it stay when it's not at the rodeo?
It lives right here at NRG Park.
It does.
I can't disclose its actual location.
Okay.
We have a secure warehouse on site, but it does disassemble and stay here at NRG
year-round. Okay, so it's sort of ours.
It is ours.
Yeah.
It is a one of a kind.
Nice.
Yeah, Kyle, you mentioned that the Houston Livestock Show and rodeo, when we look at it from an operation standpoint, we've been doing it for so long that it's become a very well-oiled machine. But surely there have to be some challenges, and I'm sure those challenges look different every year. When we were going into this year's rodeo, what things that you all experienced?
This year, again, it's time and space. NRG Park is a very busy property, and on paper, we only have 2 weeks to move in the entire show, and that's not just what we do inside the stadium, but it's on the grounds. It's the entire city that we set up here. On our busiest days last year, we had right at 199,000 people visit the grounds on a single day. I think we have one of our forklifts driving by us right now. We're hauling out our recycling from last night in the wine garden from all the activity out here. So it is a nonstop operation for us, and it takes an entire year to plan this. So when we found out, one of the big things this year is the changeover that we'll do in the stadium from rodeo to our full feature Cody Johnson show, where we're going to set 7,000 chairs overnight and take out all the dirt.
Well, I was going to say, do the crews pretty much go 24? So when we all leave at 11. That's just the beginning for some of these people.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're a 24-hour operation. It doesn't stop. Between we last night we had one of our big, we call it a changeover. So we've got different animals coming in for the different livestock exhibits and shows that we have going on, and so we have to build different pens overnight. Where we call them our 6x6s. That's what we house our goats and our swine in for that livestock show. And then the next night we're hosting cattle again. So we'll go from small pens to big pens. It's a nonstop operation.
But I also would imagine that it's very complex balancing, when you think of events, you think of people, but you're also, as you mentioned, you have thousands of animals that are also coming through here. So what do those two different experiences look like?
It's very interesting. Everybody has a different journey to the rodeo. If you were to follow the pathway of one of the junior exhibitors who's coming from, I'll pick Paducah, Texas, out near Amarillo, their journey starts 18 hours of driving to get here for the show, and then they stage up in a parking lot waiting on a stalling assignment, and they're coming in to load in animals and gear overnight to compete, and then they're in the building for 2 or 3 days waiting for the competition and the opportunity to be a grand champion.
Wow. Now, Kyle, you started your career at NRG Park, and this is kind of like a full circle moment. I mean, now you are in a leadership role. Talk to us a little bit about that journey for you.
It's fantastic. I mean, I'm one of the many that was brought to Houston from the oil business. I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here as fast as I could.
Didn't we all?
And I chose a pathway very different than most of my family. They're engineers and military, and I tried to join the circus at one point, and I ended up in event operations and started here with the management company at the park. And there's, a venue like this is doing thousands of events a year, so it was an opportunity for me to get my feet wet and experience what events were, and then hone my skill when I moved into a larger arena out in Arizona and spent some time out in the desert with a hockey team of all things. And then when the opportunity was presented to come back home to Houston, where my family is and the rodeo is, it's just one you can't say no to.
So we obviously have 3 weeks here. Does your job continue all year long?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so, we have a full-time staff on with Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. And this is the short history that I usually give. At one point, it's always been a volunteer-based organization, and there was a need to hire full-time staff to support the year-round operations. And so now we've got not under my direct control, but we have a full studio team that's producing content year-round. We have our marketing team, our promotional team, working with the exhibitors, producing the World's Championship Barbecue Contest, one of the largest shows in the world. Is before we even open, we've hosted 250,000 people for barbecue in the parking lot.
Right. And so I'm guessing that you just focus on the rodeo, or do you focus on other events that happen?
Well, the rodeo hosts a number of events, but everything we do is rodeo. So our rodeo staff is about 140 full time. But outside of rodeo season, we're still producing over 2,000 events internally to support the committee operations, and that could be anything from a planning meeting for 10 or 20 people, or it could be a gala downtown raising funds for one of our auctions.
And for folks heading out this year, what's something behind the scenes, Kyle, that people might not realize happens, that it takes to pull this off? That's one of your favorite little tidbits about the rodeo.
So I drive around. I've got some great pictures that I do. I call it the show before the show. When I pull up on the grounds at 4:45 on the first Monday morning, the 16th, and we officially take over the grounds. We've already got people in the air working, and the sun's coming up, and we got a half-built carousel. It's pretty exciting.
So at the end of all of this, is it meetings to get ready for next year, or a massage, or off to Hawaii?
We don't breathe until everything's packed up and put away. So again, on paper, we have 5 days to pack everything up after the show's over. So that's this year, the jump we get, the dirt will be out of the stadium, so we don't have to do that because we've already taken that out for the Cody Johnson show. But we have to demobilize everything and put it in storage in containers, and then start planning for next year. So it's 5 solid days of our teams working around the clock again on the tail end.
Well, not to jinx anything, but the weather's been amazing for the rodeo.
It has. Yeah, we were really blessed by great weather during the entire move-in. For us, that's huge. I talk about how quick it is to get into the stadium, but sometimes we're backed up to other stadium events. There was Monster Jam had monster trucks up in the air. At 5 o'clock on Sunday night, and then we're putting our stage in at 5 o'clock the next morning. So it's pretty incredible.
That is incredible. Kyle Olsen is the Chief Show Operations Officer for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Kyle, thanks for stopping by. I know you're probably running around the grounds, and we appreciate you stopping by to chat with us today on Hello Houston.
All right, thank you for having us.
Really interesting. Thank you so much.
It is really interesting. Yeah. And coming up, we're going to chat with Laura Lambert, the Director of Auctions and Attractions at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. We're also going to check in with Ernie, who will be at the Golden Buckle. Stay with us for the second hour of Hello Houston, live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way with Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
I'm Jesse Thorne. On Bullseye, we'll talk with punk rockers Joyce Manor, a band that's been playing loud music for almost 20 years. They're still going strong despite having aged out of the reply to guitarist wanted posters demographic.
It was like 16 to 24. And I was like, wow, I'm 39.
Plus, we'll remember the life and work of salsa great Willie Colon. That's on the next Bullseye from MaximumFun.org and NPR.
Bullseye can be heard tonight at 10 here on News 88.7.
Support comes from the Houston Symphony, featuring pianist Jan Liszewski in Mozart's Piano Concerto No. 9 with Elgar's Enigma Variations, conducted by Vasily Petrenko, March 13th through 15th at Jones Hall. Tickets at houstonsymphony.org.
73 degrees at the University of Houston. We're going to have partly sunny skies today with a high of 82. This is your NPR station, KUHF Houston, News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston. More of Hello Houston straight ahead. It's now 12 o'clock.
Welcome to Hello Houston. I'm executive producer of the show, Jim Kovacic, and today we're live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. If you're headed out to the rodeo, you can come watch our show live from the Wine Garden. Coming up this hour, we'll chat with Laura Lambert, Director of Auctions and Attractions at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Miss Lambert will be able to address anything you could see or bid on at the event. Plus, Ernie Manous will give us a live report from the Gold Buckle Foodie Awards. Then Rodeo board member and Trailblazer honoree Angela Hernandez will join us to discuss the rise in women's roles at the rodeo. And as always, we want to hear from you. Give us a call or text at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can also watch us live on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org and clicking the purple box.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, by Metro, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. The House of Representatives is set to hold a vote this afternoon on a war powers resolution that would halt U.S. attacks on Iran without congressional approval. Yesterday, the Senate voted down a similar measure, mostly along party lines. One of the lawmakers who voted against was Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. He spoke with host Steve Inskeep on NPR's Morning Edition.
I think the primary restraint on any president of the United States is public opinion. What you don't want to do in a terribly divided Congress is hold a vote that shows us divided. That would not be good in a war effort. It would not be good for our troops. It would not be good for success in the operation.
Did it with the Iraq War, both Iraq wars.
Well, there was overwhelming support for those. Probably shouldn't have gone to war at that point in time.
Are you saying we should avoid a vote because the country is not behind the war?
What I'm saying is right now, somebody's got to make the decision. That's the commander-in-chief.
Senator Johnson speaking with NPR's Steve Inskeep. Foreign ministers in the European Union held an emergency meeting today in Brussels with their counterparts from the Gulf Cooperation Council about the Iran war. Here's NPR's Rob Schmitz.
European Union Foreign Affairs Chief Kaja Kallas said the two sides discussed the significant damage drones and missiles from Iran have caused to civilian and petrochemical infrastructure in the Gulf.
Iran is exporting the war, trying to expand it to as many countries as they can to sow chaos, and we are calling for stability and seeing what we can do together.
Kallas said the same type of drones attacking the Middle East have for years attacked Ukraine. She said the EU is putting Gulf countries in touch with Ukraine's leadership to share notes on how to defend themselves from Iranian drone strikes. Rob Schmitz, NPR News, Berlin.
Montana Republican Senator Steve Daines has announced he will not seek re-election. He withdrew his bid yesterday just before Montana's deadline for candidates to file for the November midterm election. Montana Public Radio's Shaylee Rager has more.
Daines, who was heavily favored to win re-election, said in a statement that he's been wrestling with the decision for months.
Serving the people of Montana in the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate the past 13 years has been the greatest honor of my professional career.
Montana Republican U.S. Attorney Kurt Alme filed to run for U.S. Senate just as Daines dropped out, minutes before the candidate filing period closed. Daines immediately endorsed Alme. President Donald Trump appointed Alme the state's U.S. attorney twice and endorsed his candidacy on Truth Social. Alme has not run for office before. For NPR News, I'm Shaylee Rager in Helena.
Earlier, NPR misidentified U.S. Attorney Alme as the state's Attorney General. The state AG is actually Austin Knudsen. At last check on Wall Street, the Dow is down nearly 1,000 points. It's NPR.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Alexandra Hart. Harris County had record-breaking voter turnout in the March primaries this year. It's the first time Harris County has recorded more than 500,000 total votes in early and election day voting in a non-presidential election year. That's according to County Clerk Tanisha Hudspeth. Turnout this year was nearly double the number of votes cast in the 2024 primaries. Competitive races played a big role for voters, says University of Houston political science professor Michael Kistner. Another factor?
President Donald Trump is a polarizing force in American politics, and he inspires a lot of strong opinions and views from people. So I think there's sort of a reaction to some of what's going on in D.C. right now. People have a desire to make their opinions heard, and I think that's something that also contributed to the high turnout.
Democratic voters in Harris County outnumbered Republicans by 17% in early voting, a margin not seen in years. Voters have over 2 months until the runoff elections in late May. And President Trump says he will make an endorsement in the Texas GOP Senate race. Incumbent John Cornyn and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton are in a runoff after Tuesday's election. Trump says he will announce his endorsement soon so Republicans can focus on the Democratic nominee, James Tallarico. Trump says after the endorsement, he wants the other candidate to drop out of the race. The city of Houston is spending more money on its electricity bills. Will Jones with the city controller's office discussed electricity spending at a committee meeting this week. He says the city entered into an electricity contract with Reliant right before the 2021 winter freeze, temporarily shielding the city from increased costs after the storm.
Now that we're in the renewal option, now we have some exposure to the reality of what everyone else has been paying for a while.
The city is on track to spend about 40% more on electricity than it did last year. It's 80 degrees right now on the University of Houston campus, mostly cloudy tonight with a low around 70, mostly cloudy again tomorrow with a chance of showers tomorrow afternoon. I'm Alexandra Hart, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. RWJF is a national philanthropy working toward a future where health is no longer a privilege but a right. Learn more at rwjf.org.
And now back to Hello Houston live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Here's your hosts, Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
We are back.
We are back.
The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Wine Garden.
Yeah, what a beautiful day to be outside, huh?
I know. A lot of people are, too.
Yes.
A lot of people are here. I thought, it's going to be 11, 12 in the morning. It won't be that crowded.
No.
Oh,
we've been seeing
plenty crowded.
School buses and students and people chatting and walking around, and we just got the cool breeze.
This is actually it isn't crowded so you can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of a great time to come.
It is a nice time.
And has spring break started for some of these schools?
Not yet. HISD spring break starts next week, so I'm pretty sure
so
it's going to get really
trips.
crazy. These are field
trips that are going on, yeah. So it's nice. It's crowded. The weather's beautiful. It's 80 degrees and partly cloudy, and it's going to continue to be nice. A little breeze every now and then comes through. It's
Frank, what can we expect for the weekend, going into the weekend?
Rain.
Oh, no.
I don't know that it'll rain the whole time, but there's a front that's going to have a really hard time coming through. So it's going to linger and bring the chance for rain 60% Saturday and again on Sunday. So plan accordingly.
We're sitting outside, but you know who's inside?
Eating,
enjoying himself inside in his gold jacket. It's our very own Ernie Manous, who is at the Golden Buckle right now.
Yeah, there was a rumor that we were going to have plates brought out to us, but you know what? That was just an ugly rumor.
Oh, man. Let's see if Ernie is around or he is going to join us.
You're calling it Gold Buckle, and that's the
Ernie,
name of the awards, but actually I'm gold jacketed. And so, close enough. We'll talk about the jacket in a little bit.
I have a feeling Ernie's not joining us because he's too busy eating. Can you hear me? But you know what we do have coming up on Hello Houston? We have, again, a second roundup of guests and a fabulous show. We're going to discuss the Wine Garden, an official rodeo trailblazer. Angela Hernandez is going to join us later in the show to talk about the rising roles of women and their impacts right here at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
In my ear.
But we're going to try Ernie again. Oh, look who decided to join us. Ernie is joining us now at the Golden Buckle. And Ernie, how's it going?
It's going right. You caught me taking a mouthful. We are judging the best carnival food, the best commercial food, the best exhibit food. And with me, unfortunately, he sits next to me every year, and he gets roped into these things with me. It's Danny. Danny's here for Mostly Chocolate and Catering. So what are you tasting today?
Right now, I'm tasting the fried sushi balls. I think my favorite thing so far was the brisket biscuit. That thing was insane.
It's funny, when you're judging something like this, you often can tell the winners rise to the top quickly in tasting things.
Yes.
And it's unfair because on their own in separate areas, it may stand out as fabulous. But when they load us up with the best of the best from the whole rodeo, it's kind of hard sometimes.
It's hard to compete. That is true. That is true. I agree.
We have taken a look at best fried foods, best food on a stick, best classic fair food. Right now, I think we're in best new flavor. So we've had lots of categories. If you were creating a best new flavor, what would it entail? What would you, in your chocolate world, what could you do that would be a new, fresh flavor?
You're putting me on the spot here.
No, that's my job.
You know, something that sounds really good that I've been wanting to do for a while, Mexican hot chocolate filling with a layer of cajeta on top. I think that would be delicious. Kind of, I mean, if it's cold on a cold day in March, it might be a great option for a chocolate bonbon.
Can you make it so it's hot inside?
Oh, that'd be hard because chocolate melts when it's hot. Right. But if you eat it, then voila, it starts to melt.
Warm in your mouth.
Boom, boom, boom.
Well, we've been eating an awful lot here today, and I'm sorry you guys aren't enjoying. You're enjoying the outdoor weather. We're inside the 1932, what's it called? 1932 Cattlemen's Club, which is the new restaurant. And we're having a great time trying all of these flavors. We just got our scorecards, so we're going to have to move on a little bit. We'll have some of the folks that bring this whole event together. But you're the ones who get to vote. So we're going to send it back to you two out at the table. Celeste, Frank, sorry, but I'll eat for you.
Oh, yeah, I bet. I heard a brisket biscuit.
I know.
I could get behind that. A Mexican hot chocolate
Nice.
bonbon.
How did I do that, Bob?
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, rodeo food versus sitting out here in the nice weather.
You know what? I think I'm
Thanks,
going to
Ernie.
sit outside for a little bit here with you, Frank. I'm enjoying this, and I actually kind of like Ernie not here. I'm just kidding,
Oh,
Ernie. We'll
wow.
see you in a second, Ernie. But, yeah, again, that was Ernie Manous, who's just a few feet away from us at the Golden Buckle Food Contest. And sitting with us now.
Right here in the wine garden. A lot of garden, not much wine yet. I don't know how we fix that.
Joining us now is Laura Lambert, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo's Director of Auctions and Attractions. Thanks for joining us today on Hello Houston.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so Laura, that's a lot. I hear auctions and attractions.
Because that's the rodeo.
That is the rodeo. So you have a lot to discuss.
No. You just had Kyle on, and so there's a lot more to rodeo than what I do. But I focus mainly on the auction side, and it's really rewarding. We get to see all the kids that come through that make auction, and then our wonderful donors who support the kids throughout the year. So it's really exciting, and it's great to see our mission on full display.
And so for people who might not understand, when we're saying auction, talk to us about what that actually means in reference to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
So we have several different livestock shows. The auctions pertain to the junior market shows, and those will begin next week. And those are animals that come in, and their primary purpose, I'm not going to lie, is really to enter the food system.
Sure.
For the most part, they're castrated males, and so they don't really serve a purpose other than to enter the food system. So the kids come in, they show their animals, and we have professional judges that judge the animals. I am not a livestock person, so I don't really know exactly what they see. I know that they're looking for muscle and balance and lines of the animal, and they have standards just like dogs do. So the judges are looking for those, and they place the kids. And if they make auction, then they are guaranteed a premium. So we will pay them a cash award, and then they actually get to experience auction. A little known fact is that in the junior market auctions, we're not actually selling the animal that walks across the stage. Yeah. The donors are making a donation to the show, and we give them benefits in exchange for that.
Sure. And so when we're talking about the junior market auction, what is the age group of the junior, auctioneers that are coming out here? When do they start? Where do they typically come from?
They come from all over Texas, and it's really any age. I mean, they start at like 8 years old all the way up to seniors in high school.
Itty bitty. I've seen some itty bitties out there.
Yeah, there are some little itty bitty kids showing, and it is fun to see a little itty bitty 8-year-old trying to drag a 2,000-pound steer around. But yeah.
But if it means scholarship, you know what?
Yeah, Mama's like, you better drag that
exactly,
out.
Exactly.
So
yes.
I've always been fascinated by the artwork that these kids come up with. I mean, it's something everybody should put on their wall, some of these pieces.
Beautiful.
It's amazing what these kids can do. I do work with the school art program as well. This year we had about 4,300 pieces of art come to NRG for judging. And our team of volunteers, they are volunteers, but they're all professional artists. They chose 90 pieces to go to auction. And the kids that make auction, they're guaranteed a minimum of $2,600. And the grand champion will receive $40,000 for the art. Yeah.
So have we gotten there yet?
We have chosen the artwork, but the auctions actually begin next Friday is the very first one. That's Lamb and Goat. We have 3 next weekend and then 2 the last weekend.
I remember years ago, like 35 years ago, when some of the big high rollers of Houston would come in and they'd buy the steer for $500,000, which is a lot of money today. In 1989, it was a heck of a lot of money. So that trend kind of settled out, right?
Actually, in 2022 and in 2024, the grand champion steer sold for $1 million.
So the money still comes in.
Yeah, the money still comes in.
But it doesn't go directly to the kid. It goes to the
correct.
The fund.
The grand champion steer exhibitor will receive $85,000. That's an increase this year. Overall, the show is going to give $10.5 million in exhibitor premiums to all the kids in school art, lamb and goat, poultry, swine, and steer auctions. So it's a lot of money, and it's really good. And our donors are wonderful. They have deep pockets, but they also have deep hearts. They really believe in what we're doing here, and they believe in our mission, and they're happy to support these kids.
And I find it so interesting how here at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, we talk so much about agriculture, and we're talking about animals and people coming and food, but also the art aspect that you're talking about. I mean, some of these, as Frank was mentioning, some of these pieces are just incredible. How did you all decide on the art aspect of it?
Well, part of the mission of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is to promote Western heritage. And for the kids that are doing art, a lot of them may not have access to animals. They may not have the means to raise an animal. So it's really great to open up the show to a whole different sector of students at school. But, they are promoting agriculture and preserving Western heritage through their art. So it is really important. It's not just about raising an animal.
Has there been a piece that surprised you that's won?
Oh, gosh. I mean, there are so many pieces that just touch my heart. The piece that was the champion last year was a mother cow nurturing her little calf, and it was just really sweet. It just really tugged at your heartstrings, and it sold for a record last year too. And it's no wonder because I'm sorry.
How much did it sell for?
For school art, it sold for $265,000, I think.
Wow,
that's what I remember.
That does tug at your heart.
Yes.
Tugs at my pocketbook.
Yeah, like I said, these donors are amazing, and they do have deep pockets, but they have deeper hearts. They they believe in the mission of the show. They believe in these kids. They believe in education, and they want to support these kids, so they're happy to do it.
And are you involved with the championship barbecue contest?
I actually used to be on that committee, but I'm not involved with it through the show.
Were you there this year? I was there.
I did go out on Wednesday night, and that was my only chance to go out this year. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I volunteered on that committee for 15 years before I came to work at the show.
Wow,
so,
that's amazing. I'm curious though, Laura, when we're looking at the auction and and you're saying donors, talk to us about the donors. Who is that person that really feels compelled to support something like the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo and the students aspect of it?
Well, like I said, I mean, our donors, they do come back year after year because they really do believe in the show's mission. They believe in the kids. They believe in giving them opportunities. They believe in education. They believe that the kids are learning life lessons, you know, to be responsible, to be accountable, to do your research. You know, a pig doesn't know it's Christmas morning or that you stayed up all night cramming.
Right.
You still have to get up and take care of that pig no matter what the situation. So these kids do learn a lot of responsibility. They learn that if you work hard, you can be rewarded. And then also sometimes, even though you work hard, the ball may not bounce your way. And, you know, there are life lessons to be learned from that. And most of these kids that go on, they'll go to school, and I think they're better prepared for school because they've learned some of their life lessons through the rodeo.
I think raising an animal, because it's not raising a puppy.
Right.
Moms will step in for puppies. Moms won't step in for pigs.
Absolutely not.
When it's your lamb, your pig, your whatever, that really means you are responsible.
Yes, I mean, they are responsible for feeding that animal every single day. They've got to exercise the animal. They've got to groom the animal. If the animal is sick, they need to give it medication. They're training that animal how to be shown. You know, like an animal may have to be halter broken to be able to be led around a ring. So the kids are doing all that.
Yeah,
and so they really are learning about responsibility and accountability at a young age.
Now, Laura, you mentioned that you were on a committee for 15 years, and now you are with the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. How did that happen, and does that happen often? Because we've seen this happen where people get involved, and all of a sudden they're working for the organization.
Yeah, there are a few employees that are former volunteers. I was very lucky. Like I said, I was on the barbecue committee for 15 years, and I got to know a lot of people at the rodeo and on staff at the rodeo, and a job opened up, and somebody was like, maybe you should apply for it. And I was like, maybe.
Here I am.
I do a lot of work for the rodeo, and I do it for free now. Maybe I can get paid for it.
Yeah.
So, so this will be my 14th show on staff. So rodeo has been part of my life for almost 30 years.
And what do you think it is about the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo for so many Houstonians that we just love it?
It just becomes part of your soul. You know, I say I bleed orange, not but just because I went to UT, and I know there aren't many UT grads around here, a lot of A&M grads.
Yeah, right.
But I bleed orange because of UT, but also because of the rodeo. It just becomes part of your soul, and it is so wonderful to volunteer or work for an organization that gives back to the community. It really makes an impact. You know what you're doing makes a difference in people's lives, and that's really rewarding.
I'm sure it's hard to come up with a highlight, but is there one part of the rodeo you really love?
Oh, gosh.
I know. What a question.
Ernie would say that's like asking to pick your favorite child, right? That's what Ernie always likes to say.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, there are so many moments. There are moments every single year that touch me and make me realize what I do. Because, you know, I leave my home. I stay at a hotel for a month. I pack up. I don't see my family or my friends for a month. But every year there's something that happens that makes it all worthwhile, and you realize what you're doing. It matters.
Whether you're getting paid or volunteering.
Yes.
Either way around.
Exactly.
So if someone wanted to get involved like you have been involved, what should they do?
Well, first of all, you need to join the rodeo.
Right.
And then once you join the rodeo, we have a listing of the committees. We have 109 committees.
That's plenty of
so there
committees.
is something for everybody.
There is something for everyone.
Yeah, and so then you'll be able to look at all the committees and pick out a few that line up with your skill set, and you can join the wait list, and then usually there are interviews and whatnot with the committees, and then you join. But being on a committee is really rewarding. I mean, these people become your family. I actually met my husband volunteering.
You
buried the lead.
Tell us a little bit about that. What does he do at the rodeo when he comes?
Well,
how'd y'all meet?
One the wine committee by any chance?
No, he used to judge the wine though, so that's cool. He's no longer a volunteer. He supports me, and that's a full-time job.
Right.
He's at home taking care of my dogs right now.
He's holding down the fort.
He's holding down the fort. Yes. I told him if there's one empty dish in that sink when I get home. He's in trouble.
I bet. So, Laura, what does it mean to you? You talk about how you love it. We've talked about how Houstonians love it. What does it mean to you to come out here and see that you get to share this with thousands of people?
Gosh, there are so many things. I mean, like I said, it really does touch your soul when you come out and you realize that you're a part of something that's so much bigger than all of us. The rodeo, it touches so many people's lives, from the exhibitors, from our volunteers, the staff. It really is it's a huge production, and somehow it all comes together every single year, and I'm grateful that I get to be a part of it.
Well, thank you so much. Laura Lambert is the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo's Director of Auctions and Attractions. Again, thanks for popping in today on Hello Houston.
Thank you so much for having me.
See you next year.
Happy rodeo.
Happy rodeo. Coming up on Hello Houston, we'll discuss the wine garden, and official Trailblazer Angela Hernandez is going to join us to talk about the rising roles of women at the rodeo. This is News 88.7, broadcasting live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
We know you value Houston Public Media. That's why you're watching right now. So take the next step and become a new member of the station you rely on. Every gift makes a difference. And what matters most right now is supporting the station that brings you the news and information you rely on. It only takes a minute to make a big difference. So join as a new member today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
Can't get enough PBS programming? PBS Passport is an added member benefit that offers exclusive streaming access to many of your favorite programs on the PBS app. Whether you're an NPR listener, a PBS watcher, or both, your ongoing donations of at least $5 per month qualify for PBS Passport. Make your gift now to start watching at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
There's a new twist for addressing America's housing affordability crisis. Developers who aren't building houses to sell, but to rent.
Homeownership has gotten so far out of the reach of most people that this trend, I think, is a godsend.
I'm Juana Summers. Can building houses to rent help with housing prices by easing the shortage? That story on All Things Considered from NPR News.
All Things Considered begins at 3 o'clock today on News 88.7.
The East Coast this winter has been snowstorm after snowstorm after snowstorm. Out west, though, mountaintops are just begging for a snow day.
We bring in a lot of people to these mountain towns that probably wouldn't have came otherwise. So, restaurants and other attractions lose out as well.
I'm Kai Risdall, the snow economy. Next time on Marketplace.
Marketplace, 6:30 this evening on News 88.7.
And now back to Hello Houston, live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Here's your hosts, Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
We're back.
Welcome back to the second hour of Hello Houston. If you're just joining us now, you just heard we are live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Frank, and it's so beautiful out right
and
now.
Right in the middle of the wine garden, which is gorgeous.
And that's what we're going to be chatting about coming up next. We're going to be chatting about wine. That's a big part of that. There's the art, there's the animals, the agriculture, economy, and wine.
There's something for everyone out here.
There truly is
there's something to eat for everyone out
Speaking
here.
of eating, we're going to check in with our very own Ernie Manous, who is currently at the Gold Buckle. Hey, Ernie, how's the food out there? Any good bites?
I have just finished 18 samples ranging from best fried food, food on a stick, classic fair food, most creative, best new flavor, and we wrapped it up as you should with dessert. But with me now to talk more about it is Kim Dodson, who is, and if I get the title right, Showtime Division Chair of Commercial Exhibits.
Hello, Ernie.
Hello. We've been doing this together for a number of years.
I think I got a memory in my system from 2017 or 2016 the other day with you.
Well, yeah, we've taken a lot of pictures together. Harry mentioned he thinks I've been judging 18 years in a row.
Probably. I mean, this Houston Gold Buckle Foodie Awards have been going on since before. right around middle time when I joined the committee, and I've been on the committee for 22 years. So
I thought you were going to say since you were born. Okay,
I thought about it.
Let's talk a little bit about what we're actually doing. These are foods that are available to anyone that comes to visit the rodeo, and you broke them down into categories, and folks got to vote online.
Yes. So the way we work that is it's a completely popular vote. We take all of our vendors and we let them enter the contest, and then for 4 weeks before the rodeo, every week they release 2 categories, and the public votes on those. And we get all the votes in, and we get thousands of votes because it's a PR machine. All of our vendors have all of their followers vote for them, and then at the end we narrow it down to 3 finalists.
And we got to try the 3 finalists in each category, and they were all delicious. There were a couple real standouts that our heart went out for. Looking at the way we judge over the years, do pretty much all of us judges land in the same place, or do you see discrepancies?
Well, actually, you don't land in the same place. Everybody has their own typical taste, but I will say it's the extremes. So you all disagree extremely on one, or you all agree extremely on one. It's very mixed bag. It depends on the vendor, the conditions, and the judge's taste.
Do you get to eat all of the samples beforehand?
Yes, I do. This year I've not gotten to try all of them, but I've gotten through about a quarter of them so far, and I have all rodeo to go to get through the rest.
Time. Folks have been commenting on the gold jacket I'm wearing. Can you explain what this jacket is and why I'm wearing it?
It is an homage to our former chairman, Brooks Bradford, who came in and really made this the popularity contest that it is. And when he did that, he got the nickname Showboat. So Showboat wore a gold Showboat jacket, and then that has prompted all of us, a division chairman and current chairman, to dress up and treat this as a real formal event, as it should be.
Oh yeah, because when I think formal wear, this is the jacket I think. Gold sequin tux coat?
Yeah, sure. It's formal wear. And what you can't see that I'm wearing right now is a full sequin fringe skirt. So.
You are. Well, and I also have to mention, too, Brooks isn't with us this year. And so he said, Ernie, wear this jacket in my honor. And so I am representing here with that. Talk a little bit about the commercial exhibits and how important that is to the whole health of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
Absolutely. So the Commercial Exhibits Committee has been around for 84 years now, 1941, so about 10 years after the show started. And we started off as just a ragtag bunch of guys who helped vendors set up, and now we've turned into a committee of about 400. And we have several subcommittees, but our main job is to help the vendors manage their time here. So we do everything from helping them check in, we help them escalate issues, manage their contractual obligations, and then we just go and shop and eat and have a good time. We run the Gold Buckle Foodie Awards, and we have a fashion showcase, and we let the public know all the wonderful things that you can get out here just coming out here. This is a huge, huge event.
I often hear from folks who are vendors here that this show is so big it can make their whole year's budget.
Yes, so a lot of our vendors are show circuit vendors. They don't have a brick and mortar, so this is the final stop on their show. But then we do have several vendors that this is their only stop. They make their whole year's wealth at this show. We have hundreds of thousands of people that come to this show every year, and the shopping is a main attraction of what they come for.
Yeah, and so give me a number. How many vendors do we have this year? Do you know offhand?
We have, I think, around 300 vendors. That also includes our sponsors and social activations. 261 are actual commercial exhibitors that fall under our realm. And they range from anything from gizmos and gadgets all the way up to food and high-end clothing and furniture.
And not just anything can be here. You folks curate what's in the show.
I will tell you, this past year we have an application review. Part of the committee comes and does application review, and this year was the all-time high of new vendor applications, just new people wanting to come into the show. 475 new applicants.
Ooh, so some didn't make the cut.
We only had about 20 spots.
Wow. Well, that's cool. So what can I find here? If I go out there shopping, what should I make sure not to miss? Don't give brands, but what type of items should I be looking for?
Jewelry.
Jewelry?
Nice, beautiful turquoise jewelry, custom wire-made jewelry. Hats. You can get custom hats. You can get custom hat bar hat bands.
I want to talk for a minute about hats before we go anywhere else. Every hat I have put on this year, I feel like I've got a flying saucer on my head. It's too wide. Am I doing it wrong? Should it be more broad in?
Yes, so you need to have it stretched front to back. I also have the same affliction, so I have my hat stretched front to back. And we have several hatters in there that can shape the hat, and they're all professionals at their game, and all they do is go around to these rodeos. They also have influencer accounts and are widely followed, and people come all around to see them.
Speaking of influencers and what's happened with social media, how has this aspect of the rodeo changed with that in mind?
It is now driven a new era of the rodeo, and I think you can see that in the production value and the marketing campaigns that the rodeo is putting out, and how they're encompassing all of the rodeo. They're encompassing the shopping, the food, they're promoting everything, because rodeo is leaning into this destination rodeo theme that people are coming to town to have their bachelorette parties, their birthday parties, and the rodeos really started leaning into that.
Well, one thing I lean into every year is getting to see you. And I know all through the year we text each other, let's get together, let's get some. Time never works out. This year we're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
Do it. But definitely, once a year for a month, I get to spend time with Kim. Thank you so much for doing this with us. I'm going to throw it back to you guys. I want to thank Kim Dodson, who is the Showtime Division Chair of Commercial Exhibits. Happy to get it right and happy to have you here with us.
Thank you, Ernie.
Thanks, Celeste. Back to you guys. I'm coming back, too. I'll see you in a minute.
Thanks, Ernie.
Bring food.
You can only come back if you bring us some.
If you come empty-handed, don't show up.
But you know what? Sometimes it's better than food is wine. And joining us now is Lindsay Wied, the chairman of the Wine Garden Committee. Lindsay, welcome to Hello Houston.
And welcome to the Wine Garden.
Yeah, thanks for having us out here. It's
now,
very nice.
Lindsay, you were just telling Frank and I about today is Texas Wine Day.
Yeah, so we invite everyone in Houston to come join us. We're going to have 22 wineries here this afternoon.
Nice.
And they are from all over Texas, and it's a great opportunity for us to showcase the beauty of Texas wines. The Texas wine industry has grown phenomenally in the past even 5 years, and so we want to showcase the agriculture and the viticulture and the beautiful hands that craft this wine. And it's going to be a free tasting, so come on out and enjoy it.
And you're right. We've had a number of wineries on Hello Houston to talk about their success, and they are doing well. They're winning awards nationally with local state wines.
It's amazing, right? I don't think we realize the impact that it's had on the tourism and our economy, but we are now a number 4 or 5 any given year growing region in the United States. So we're up there competing with the big dogs.
Yeah, but what makes the Wine Garden a unique experience compared to some of the other food and drinks within the rodeo?
Man, the Wine Garden is an experience. That's the only way I can convey it. We have the ambiance, we have the music, we have 2 live bands every night. We have 75 hand-picked wines that go through our competition, which we can talk about. But all of that combined together just makes an experience for our entire community.
So do you work hand in hand with Rodeo Uncorked?
Correct. Okay. So there's actually 5 committees that sit under the Rodeo Uncorked umbrella, and those 5 committees start with our relationship with you can hear everything going on real time in the Wine Garden.
That's an exclusive for Hello Houston.
Yeah.
He's moving big old cement blocks with that Caterpillar.
So those 5 committees, it's everything from reaching out to the wineries, the actual industry, and getting them to participate. We have the competition that's held here in November where we judged over 3,000 wines internationally.
Yep.
And those wines are going to get some kind of award. So they're going to get a silver, gold, bronze, or a double gold. And so we go and we pick the best of the best to make it to our menu. We also have our auction, which happens Sunday. We raised $3.4 million in our auction, going straight to youth and education. Yeah. And then we also have our sales committees that help get the butts in the seats at the auctions, and our events team that puts on all of that. And then obviously the Wine Garden. So we're one big happy family.
So Lindsay, talk to us a little bit about when you talk about picking the best of the best, when you're looking at wine, what are y'all looking for? What is the standout? And what are the categories?
So the different categories are going to be based on the varietal. We also usually focus on a region. So we want to showcase our Texas wines, but we also have a featured region every year. This year is our Oregon wine. So just like we're doing our Texas Wine Day today, next week we're doing an Oregon wine tasting. So if you want to come out and try a bunch of Oregon wines, we have that going on as well. But going back to your question about the different wines, we're going to have different varietals, different regions. And when we go to pick them, we really, really want to give a broad variety. So we have German wines, we have French wines, we have a Spanish cava, highly recommend it. We're going to have the Texas and the Oregon wines, but then you're going to see your Californias. We just want you to have a wide variety and understand the breadth and depth of all the wines that go through the competition.
Do you have any idea what has made Texas wines really rise to the top? Because you wouldn't think our soil would be that good for grapes.
So the problem was, is many years ago, we started growing California grapes. But then we realized that we're actually closer related to the grapes that you see in like the Mediterranean terroir. So now you start to see more of the Tempranillos and those style grapes, and we're starting to see those really take off. So now that we found the right grapes that match our soil, they're doing great. And then we're starting to see like that take off and that be successful.
So we were in the right church, wrong pew.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the Hill Country has great soil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so, Lindsay, we were just discussing committees and things like that. Talk to us about what role does the Wine Garden Committee play during the rodeo? How many volunteers are we looking at? What does it take for this to happen?
Yeah, it's a production. So we have almost 1,200 volunteers that take up the Wine Garden Committee. We're divided into 6 different subdivisions. So those subdivisions do everything from, we have a warehouse on the grounds, they receive the wine, they break down the pallets, rebuild them, bring them over on forklifts. Then we have that's all of our inventory team. Then we have a team that does our bartending, our table hosting. We have an operations team that keeps, the tents up and the signs held up, and they fix all the ruts in the ground so people aren't tripping. So think everything that it takes to keep it safe and supported out here. We have a hospitality team that puts on our special events, so that way in our educational events, our seminars. We have an admin team. Obviously, you have to have an HR for a group that's that size.
Sure.
They're our backbone. And then we have our cashier team, and they're the people that are ringing up all of our orders and really working with the community that comes in here. That way they're answering questions about wine.
And it's pretty quiet now. So what are the hours of the Wine Garden?
So during the weekday, we are open 4 until basically 11 or midnight. And then on the weekends, it's 11 to 12 on Saturdays and then 10 to 10 on Sundays. So we invite you out on brunch at 10 o'clock on Sundays. We have themed brunches
I was
going
to say, tell us a little bit about the food that you can get at the Wine Garden.
Yeah, so on any normal day, we have really great cheese and charcuterie trays, but on Sunday is when the magic happens. So on Sunday, we do themed brunches each week. We have a jazz brunch, a blues brunch, and a Latin brunch. We'll have specific food trucks that come out that match the theme, as well as artists that are going to play on our stage that also match the theme. And then, of course, the most important piece, which is a bubble flight. So it all goes hand in hand. You get to enjoy the wine, enjoy the food, and enjoy the experience.
So there's a Wine Garden brunch committee, I'm guessing.
I mean, I think we're all the brunch committee, right?
I think we could definitely handle that. But, Lindsay, we were talking to Alan Kaminski out here about Agventure earlier and how they care for the animals and the importance of bringing that to the young, the education aspect of it. And we also spoke to Kyle Olsen, who talked to us about the caring of just the grounds and making it all happen. Talk to us about the care of the wine, because wine is different temperatures and it's a lot. How much wine are you guys taking care of?
We're taking care of a lot. So I talked about the warehouse, right? So we bring all this wine in, and we're being entrusted with distributors they're pulling wine from every state around here because they want to sell at the Wine Garden. So they're trusting that care of those beautiful babies of bottles, right? But we obviously put it all into a wine or temperature controlled wine warehouse that we have, and then we're bringing it over. We have reefers in the back, refrigerated trailers that we operate out of just to take care of it, and then obviously putting it into all the coolers and the bars that you see. So we also recognize that this is a craft, it's people's artwork,
right?
And we're responsible for taking care of it. It is a showcase of agriculture and viticulture and the craftsmanship.
And there's also places to go to the restroom. You have plenty of porta potties here.
Oh, yes.
Which, is important. If you're coming out to basically a big restaurant and a wine garden, you're going to drink wine and eat and have fun. You don't want to be looking for that.
We've been told we have the best bathrooms on the ground.
I've used them. I'm not complaining.
But, Lindsay, you and I were just actually talking about how you're a mom and you come in. Why do you do this? Why do you love it? What does the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo mean to you?
To me, it's all about giving anybody that wants the opportunity for an education an opportunity to be educated. Whether it's going to a four-year school or a vocational degree, we give those kids an opportunity to choose education, and that to me it's the one thing nobody can take away from you is your education. So it's important to me that we support our community. I'm showing my kids what it means to be involved in your community and offer education up. But then with wine specifically, I think it really gives a new world for people who maybe don't know how to go support animals or understand livestock. But hey, there's a lot of educated or even uneducated consumers of wine. Sure. So now this becomes a whole new world of the rodeo that they know and feel comfortable interacting with. So people come to the rodeo just for the wine garden and for the experience. And now we've brought in more opportunities for people to get involved that maybe they wouldn't have done before.
Sure, there's a domino effect out here.
Yeah.
You don't even know you like Oreos that have been fried. And then
All of a sudden you're like, I do like Oreos that are fried.
I do.
Talk to us a little about what some of your top faves. If somebody's coming out to the wine garden, what should they be trying? What's trending? What's cool right now in the world of wine?
So our top trending wine right now, so Sauvignon Blanc in general across the industry is just super popular. All the young kids are calling it Savvy Bee, and it's the wine to get.
This is my favorite, but I didn't know to call it that. See, you come out here and you learn.
You learn the lingo.
I'm a Savvy Bee. Because I'm ABC, anything but Chardonnay.
Oh, so that's a shame though, because we have our
But they're
reserve
getting
grand
better.
champion. Yes, our reserve grand champion is Sequoia Grove Chardonnay. It's more of a French style, so it's not going to be your buttery
Like a
Napa.
Sancerre, yeah.
And it is phenomenal. I highly recommend it. Obviously, our grand champion, the Chimney Rock Cabernet, is wonderful. If you're also a Cabernet fan, I personally love the Reynolds family. Both phenomenal. And then for bubbles, I already mentioned the Segura Vitas Cava. You got to recommend that, especially if you're going to do a mimosa, although who puts orange juice in their bubbles, let's be honest.
Seems like that's for bad Prosecco. But.
Exactly. No. This is you're going to love it. Our top wine right now is the Dashwood Sauvignon Blanc. So definitely start with that. It's a great entry-level wine for anybody who wants to try it. And then another personal favorite I'll leave you with is the Grand Bac Brut Rosé. It actually was a grand champion many years ago, and every time it makes a comeback, I love it.
It's back.
Lindsay Wied is the chairman of the Wine Garden Committee. Lindsay, thank you for joining us and popping in today to Hello Houston.
Of course, and thank you guys for coming out and enjoying the beautiful weather of the wine garden with us.
I'll be back. I'll wait till 4.
Yeah. Coming up, a past Trailblazer honoree. Stay with us as Hello Houston continues live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. We'll be back.
It's not just your car. It's the one that brought your kids home from school, took you cross-country, held memories, laughter, even a few breakdowns. When it's time to let go, give your car a new purpose. Donate it and turn memories into meaningful support for this station. Plus, you'll enjoy free and easy pickup, potential tax benefits, and a simple donation process. Your gift supports the programs you and your family love. Donate today and help keep public media strong. Call or donate online.
With the help of the US, like Hamas is still in control of Gaza, Hezbollah is still the most powerful military force in Lebanon that just launched missiles at Tel Aviv yesterday. And Iran, the regime is still in place.
I'm Natalie Kitroeff. That's Today on the Daily from the New York Times.
You can hear that at 7 p.m. here on News 88.7.
Hey, it's Francis Lamb, host of The Splendid Table. This week we've got 2 brilliant bread bakers and teachers, the authors of the King Arthur Baking Company's Big Book of Bread. They'll spend the hour with us answering every question on baking you can think of, and that's coming up on The Splendid Table.
The Splendid Table can be heard Sunday at noon on News 88.7. Support for Houston Public Media comes from Texas Mutual Insurance Company, a workers' compensation provider committed to handling claims to help injured workers get back to work. More at texasmutual.com/mutual care. Support comes from UT Health Houston, Houston's health university, where education, research, and patient care come together to help advance health and improve lives in Houston and beyond. More at uth.edu/manyfaces.
And now back to Hello Houston Live at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo with Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Our next guest, Angela Hernandez, is a great example of how women have become an integral part of the rodeo and its continued success. She's a member of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Board of Directors, having volunteered with the event for 22 years. She's also a member of both the Trailblazer and Wine Sales Committee. And she's been named a Trailblazer honoree. In recognition of her significant contributions to the Houston Rodeo over the years, she joins us now to tell us about the rise in women's roles at the rodeo. Angela, welcome and congrats.
Thank you both. Thanks for having me here. What a beautiful day for this interview.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. I forgot to mention, I've only known you how long?
20 plus.
And she's a friend of Frank's.
Yes, definitely a friend of Frank's. So tell me, let's start with how you got involved in the rodeo.
So I got involved in the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo when I was in high school. I was in Future Farmers of America, so FFA, and I showed at my local high school show, which was LaPorte High School. Showed lambs, chickens, turkeys, and a steer my senior year. And then I also showed for Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo poultry for 2 years. So I actually got involved in the early 90s.
So you were one of those young people that actually participated.
Yes.
And then said, you know what, I really want to be a part of this for forever.
Correct. I saw the value as a young child learning what it was like. We heard some of the other interviewees talking about raising animals and the time commitment it is, from everything from spending your days out there. I remember before I could even drive and my parents dropping me off to take care of my lambs, and it was like that lamb has to eat, drink, and walk. It can't do it itself. So just learning the discipline and what it took to raise an animal. And I feel like I'm a better professional today for my time raising animals back in high school.
Yeah,
so what kind of, lessons did you learn? I mean, besides responsibility, right? But that translate as that have made you a better professional.
It has, and one of the things that I share with others, even if your child isn't interested in raising a livestock, being a part of FFA taught me public speaking. You learn the FFA creed, you get in front of others, and there are so many life lessons you can learn by being involved in FFA and 4-H that takes you on throughout your life today.
Amazing. So talk to us about why you feel like women have this role for you has continued to evolve.
As you mentioned, this is my 22nd year to volunteer with the rodeo. And I remember, early on, even 10, 15 years ago, there wasn't as many women in leadership roles. I was very fortunate to be the first female chairman of the Western Heritage Community Challenge Committee. Say that 3 times. Back in 2012. And, from being a chairman of over 185 volunteers, and you get volunteers of all walks of life, and it's really a challenge. It was a time when we were looking at changing the committee, so that it was on my shoulders to kind of reshape and change it. And with change comes challenges of those that are on board or off board and not looking for that. And people think the rodeo is part of tradition, and there's a lot of history there, but sometimes you have to make the change for the better. Mm-hmm. And so I was part of that change, and it was a hard lesson, but it was one that helped me rise up also through the rodeo. And I was very fortunate to be voted in the board of directors of the rodeo in 2015.
Wow.
So, and since then, and even seeing you see Pat Mann Phillips today, who was our first ever female chairman of the board, which took place 2 years ago. So she's ending her chairmanship. I'm sad to see her leave, but I've seen in the last 10, 15 years women rise, continuing to see, we had our first ever current vice president that is Hispanic, which is amazing to see a female Hispanic woman rise the ranks of vice president of the rodeo.
So this inclusivity, it almost is just a given now, it seems.
It's becoming a given.
It's becoming, okay,
it's
then
becoming
me.
a given.
So there's still challenges.
There's still challenges. I think back to one of my dear friends, Casey White. She is the first chairman of the Trail Ride Committee, and she is finishing her 3-year term at this rodeo season. So just thinking 3 years ago, we just also had the first. And now having Martha as the first in 2026. So there are probably still other firsts out there, but I'm seeing more change now than I've seen 15 years ago.
And Angela, I think that's part of essentially the misconception, is that people think that, it's inclusive and you see people doing the different roles and the different jobs, but there really is a difference between somebody being a part of an organization and somebody taking a leadership role within an organization. Talk to us a little bit about why you think it's important not just to be involved, but to be sitting at the table, not just in the room, but a part of it.
I think it's important because we all have a voice. and we all are in different aspects and stages in our life and careers and what we're doing. And I think having that seat at the table is allowing us to provide that voice. I'll give you an example. When I was on the corporate development committee about 10 years ago, I was part of that conversation of 50 committee members. I was probably the youngest woman or male on the committee, and I raised my hand because that committee was specifically raising money for scholarships, and they were $20,000 scholarships. And I said, we could get more donors if you added a box that said first in their family to go to school. I bet you I can go sell that $20,000 scholarship to somebody like me, because I was the first person in my family to graduate from college, and my money that I raised from my animals helped pay for my college. So it's like, I think if we do that one little thing, and nobody in that room really thought about it because all of them had grown up, went to college, it was nothing different from their lifestyle. And I said, in my time at working at Deloitte, we were doing these future of education and future workforce studies, and not everybody's going to go to college. And then a few years later, we had, as Lindsay mentioned too, you have a scholarship for vocational studies. And it's also important when you look at the workforce of Houston and throughout the United States that not everybody's going to get a four-year degree, and they deserve to have that opportunity, and we can give you that $10,000. So, having the seat at the table and being able to raise your hand and share, because everybody comes from different experiences. And it's not, sad that I didn't have this experience and they had a better life. It's like we all bring something different. I think that's what the beauty of the rodeo is. It's all walks of life. And we're all here for the common ground of supporting education, Western heritage, and here to help each other.
And hearing your story, and somebody that's sitting out there and thinking, yeah, I want to be like Angela. I want to do it. I want to support. I want to go through these things. What advice do you have for young women or somebody out there that potentially says, I'm not in the room? How do I get in the room? And how do I become a leader within the room?
Well, the good news is the rodeo has over 100 committees, so I always tell people there's a committee for everyone. And then I sit down and I ask them two questions. Do you want to sell or do you want to work? Can you take off work? Can you do this? Because, that's really the important thing. When people come up to me and are like, you've been volunteering forever, how do I become this or how do I become that? And that is the first question I ask them, because it is a time commitment and a financial commitment depending on where you're at. And, being true to yourself, because there is something for you out at the rodeo. And then think through, if you want to get involved and have a leadership role, raise your hand, share that with your chairman, share it with others. I've always found throughout my career, if you just tell people what you're interested in doing and you're looking for help or you want to have leadership, the opportunities will be there. But if you don't raise your hand and you don't voice that you're interested in something, nobody can help you.
Tell us a little bit about Trailblazers. Everyone's heard about it. You have been a big shot in it. I've even emceed it a couple of times.
You have. So the Trailblazer luncheon is the luncheon to go to in the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and it is always the first Friday of February. This year we had over 2,200 men and women that joined us for the luncheon.
Mostly women,
but there are some men that come out and support us. And the Trailblazer Committee honors women that have given to the rodeo and also in their community. And so this year was the 26th anniversary of the Trailblazer Fashion Show and Award Show. And so thank you, Frank. Frank was actually he was the MC the year I became an honoree, and it was such a privilege having him read my bio as I was walking down the runway. Yeah. And so the Trailblazer Committee, outside of the fashion show, which everybody knows about, is we also have a reading program for ropes. So if you are walking around in the NRG Center and you see those wonderful little book clubs stationed throughout the Agventure, those are free books that our committee and other committee members throughout the rodeo and organizations donate children's books. And those books are little libraries. And so we encourage folks to take a book home with you, and it's great to see it. So it's one of the other great things that we do is enhancing that education and giving back to building your libraries.
Well, we've been asking everybody, what's your favorite child? So what's your favorite thing out here at the rodeo?
Honestly, my favorite thing is walking through the livestock show and talking to the students. I mean, I'll walk by and I'll see a student and I'll ask him, why did you raise that Black Angus? Or why did you name your steer X? And they look at me with just their lights glowing up because somebody stopped to talk to them. Somebody has an idea of what they're doing and they just love it. And that's my favorite thing, is walking in and out through the livestock show, just talking to the students.
That's so nice, because you were one.
I was one. And so when they see me all dressed up, and they're like, who is this woman? And then I'm literally stopping there and asking them all of these various, like, what are you feeding it? How have you done this? Like, have you thought about that? And it's just, their eyes light up, and it's my favorite part.
Wow.
I always tell people I don't really care who's performing because I come to the rodeo regardless, and I'm out there always enjoying the students.
I love it.
Angela Hernandez is a Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Board member, committee member, and past Trailblazer honoree. Angela, it was great to have you today on Hello Houston.
Thank you both. Enjoy your time out at Rodeo, and let's Rodeo Houston.
Yes, and that brings us to the end of our show right here live at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. We want to thank you for watching and joining us today on Hello Houston. We'll be back tomorrow with more conversations. We're going to discuss an Air Alliance Houston study on large-scale air pollution events. We are back also broadcasting live from the Wine Garden next Wednesday, March 11th. So tell your friends and come out and see us. It's going to be spring break. And this is News 88.7.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menjivar, Jen Altai, Todd Holslander, and Jim Kovacic. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
There's a new twist for addressing America's housing affordability crisis. Developers who aren't building houses to sell, but to rent.
Homeownership has gotten so far out of the reach of most people that this trend, I think, is a godsend.
I'm Juana Summers. Can building houses to rent help with housing prices by